What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Fresh Review. Now, you might be wondering, what do we do on this channel? We break ankles and we score touchdowns 24/7. I got dozens of highlights like that in the background. But what we also do is we review each and every game of the NFL season. So right now this is the NFL Week 6 review. And this game started off with the 49ers and the Seahawks. Now, for some of you guys that are worried about the footage in the background, here's what my offense looks like. I'm going to show you guys a picture of my defense as well. If you got any questions about any of the cards and how they play, let me know. I'll let you know. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start by talking with the Thursday night game, which was the Niners take on the Seahawks. The Niners are 2-3. They find themselves going into this game. This is a must-win game for them, and they go out there and they get the job done. They beat the Seahawks, the division rival, on the road, and largely due to a balanced game here. So Jordan Mason got the start here. He ran really well, but he got injured. Isaac Guerrero, their backup running back, came in, filled in well, did okay. Had a breakaway run late, but he got tackled. The man got hawked down. The man was hyped up for a 4.3 40-yard dash time and stuff. Everybody like, oh, he's a burner. The man got hawked down. We caught him in 4K. Madden. I know he said don't lower his rating. You have to lower his speed rating. We caught him in 4K. Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle did great jobs blocking, but they also scored touchdowns. And then they did Lambeau leaps, even though it's in Seattle, so I don't know what you call them necessarily. But they did leaps into the fans where their wives were. And I ain't gonna lie to you, Kittle and Kyle, y'all hit well. Y'all got you some dime pieces. I ain't gonna lie to you, but that's a different story. Debo broke a big play, had the highlight of the game in my opinion when he had that catch and run. Debo almost got hawked down, by the way. That's another guy. Like, these speed ratings, man, I'm gonna need y'all to go and adjust them. But Seattle does have a Legion of Zoom defense with burners at the corner position that can chase you down and stuff like that. But Seattle, I think they got to get back to running the ball because Geno Smith is passing way too much. Now, granted, this is a tough team to run against. They tried to run it against San Fran, but they got behind the sticks so much running the ball here because Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet couldn't get much going on the ground. But San Fran has one of the best run defense in the league. So this week it's understandable, but next week you got to get back to running the ball because Geno should not be leading the league in pass attempts, especially when we got two really good running backs in the backfield, and Kenneth Walker, who's a dynamic playmaker, and Zach Charbonnet, who's a solid backup running back. Now, with that being said, I didn't think this was a good game because I thought it was over by halftime. Even though the Seahawks did try to fight back and get the one score over and over, it never felt like the Niners were going to lose this game. So I'm not going to give it a good rating, but I am going to get a well above average score of 69 out of 100. Giggity. Now we're going on to our next game, and you guys see who the cover athlete is. It is Caleb Williams. He delivered this game. He lived up to the expectations, and he was taking on another number one overall pick, Trevor Lawrence, who may have not been living up to his expectations because both these players were touted as generational prospects and were expected to be, no, not Mahomes level, because that's one of one, but no, a top 5 quarterback in the league type stuff. And Caleb is still young, so he got plenty of time, but Trevor Lawrence has got his contract, and he has not entered that top 5 quarterback conversation, in my opinion. Even during his best year, the one he got to the playoffs and won a game, I still didn't feel like he was top 5. I'm not sure he was even in the convo. As in, like, when I say in the convo, like, you might be 6, 7, 8, you're on that fringe, like, maybe you get an honorable mention. Nah, no honorable mention here. The boys got killed. The Bears defense is legit. They are elite. And they did all this without Jaquan Brisker. Now, the score might look a little bit closer than what it appears because they got some garbage time yardage, but Caleb Williams almost had 5 TDs. Dude got tackled at the 1-yard line, one of the players. So they ran it in with DeAndre Swift, a player I was bashing, by the way. But DeAndre Swift has definitely improved since I gave that full-on rant about DeAndre Swift and all that. The man might have saw the rant. I saw my TikToks. The TikTok rants where people were like, yo, this man got no vision. None of that stuff because, oh my goodness, this man has been a whole different player since then. It's been night and day. And Cole Kmet and Keenan Allen both got 2 touchdowns this game. Now, for the Jaguars, Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie wideout, has been a baller all season. But unfortunately, he dropped a touchdown. But Evan Ingram returned. He had over 100 receiving yards, so that's really good for the Jaguars. And Tank Bigsby, will be filling in this week for Travis Etienne, who I believe is out for another injury. I believe this is a hamstring injury, so I'm expecting Etienne to be week to week. I'm curious to see what Tank Bigsby does. They play New England, so the Patriots will be going over to London. The Jags should win this game because those London games are tough because it messes with your body clock because you're playing at 8:30 in the morning, what you're used to. But over there, it's like in the evening and stuff. But the Jaguars are there for an extended week, so their body should become more adjusted to the time lag or the jet lag, whatever you want to call it. Where the Patriots should be not as adjusted. If the Jaguars lose this game, Dougie P is fired. There is no question about it. They might not even have that man fly over on the jet with the team. They might just leave that man over there in London and say, "Hey, man, appreciate everything you tried to do. You did nothing, but hey, adios." They might fire him. Even if they win this game, they might fire him. Doug P's hot seat is boiling hot. So, as an Eagle fan, I wish Dougie P the best, but I'm just telling you what I see from the outside looking in. I thought this was a well below average game, though. One that's over at halftime. I'm giving this one a 34 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game, which was not any better. It was the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Green Bay Packers suspended Romeo Doubs for being like a diva and skipping practice and all that, saying he needs the ball more. Romeo Doubs returns this game, and Romeo Doubs gets 2 touchdowns. So you love to see that for Romeo Doubs. Comes back here. Everybody embraced him when he got the touchdowns and stuff. And they were really solid touchdowns. One of those he had to fight for. He had to dive into the end zone while the defender was trying to pull him down. That was a great one. On the other hand, Christian Watson, their dynamic deep threat wide receiver, he comes back. Jordan Love and him connect for a big play TD. So Watson returns from his ankle injury he had. Returned rather quickly. I thought he would miss a little bit more time, but he came back rather quickly. And then Josh Jacobs does okay-ish here. His yards per carry this game wasn't that great, but he did get 3 catches. He has not scored a rushing TD. He hasn't scored a receiving TD his whole career. He only has 1 rushing TD all season. So I expect those TDs numbers to go up because this is a high-powered offense where everything's clicking. On the other hand, we got the Arizona Cardinals. They lost Marvin Harrison Jr. early on to the game. Trey Benson had a solid run. I wonder if they go more to a split committee with Trey Benson and James Conner. It wasn't too much. Trey Benson got a little bit more work here, but you could say because of a blowout, whatever. James Conner also did fumble, so that doesn't help his case that much either. But Trey McBride stepped up, but, the game was kind of all over. It didn't really matter what they did here. Trey McBride almost had 100 receiving yards. He's one of the better tight ends in the league. But not much to say here about this game if you're an Arizona Cardinal fan. It looks like they will be another top 5 pick. They took Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 4. I see who they take in the top 5 again next year because that's what they look like they will be this season. And I'm giving this game a well below average score of 30 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game. Our next game is the Texans taking on the New England Patriots. And this game was actually solid in my opinion. A little bit better than a lot of people might think. Because this game had Drake May starting instead of Jacoby Brissett. So Drake May throws a pick early on. He threw 2 picks overall. One of them wasn't his fault, though. Got deflected. So that happens. But Drake May looked solid. They put up 21 points on offense. CJ Stroud and them Texans are legit, though. Even without Nico Collins, they still got Tank Dell, who's a baller. I expect Tank Dell to have a good week this week because instead of being that third wide receiver, no Nico. Now he can fill into that wide receiver 2 role like I did last year. He had a good week this week, scored a touchdown. Joe Mixon returns. Joe Mixon gets 100 yards on the ground. He's doing it all, scoring TDs through the air and on the ground. So Joe Mixon, big time pickup for them in the offseason. And DeMario Douglas is like Drake May's number 1 target. So curious to see how that connection develops. And curious to see how potentially Jalen Polk and May connection develop. Can't wait to see that game on London. Everybody will have eyes on it. You got Drake May, the number 3 overall pick this class. How will he do against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have a lackluster defense? I think he could go for 300 yards. That would be great for the mental. Hopefully they get Ramondre Stevenson back. Antonio Gibson filled in at running back, and he got nothing going on the ground as the starter of this game, which is kind of disappointing. Put him behind the chains a whole lot. 13 carries for 19 yards is abysmal. But overall, I thought this game was above average. I'm going to give it a 61 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game. And this game was crazy at first. They had us in the first half. I'm not going to lie to you. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the New Orleans Saints. In this game, that first half was so electric. Big play after big play. Touchdown, touchdown, turnover, turnover. Like, oh, it was so awesome the first half. But the second half, the Buccaneers ran away with the lead. Spencer Rattler filled in for Derek Carr here. He looked solid, but Spencer Rattler threw a hospital ball to Chris Olave. And it's kind of funny, or should I say ironic, that Spencer Rattler's like, yeah, I know who to give the ball to. I got to give it to Olave. Olave didn't get targeted that much in that Monday night game against Kansas City Chiefs. Here, he throws an out route to Olave, and a corner sitting there on a hard flat in cover 2 zone, and comes up, cracks Olave. He fumbles, and then it's a scoop and score touchdown for Antoine Winfield Jr. And Olave's out with a concussion, and they play on Thursday, so Olave will likely miss that game as well. So that's unfortunate. And I had Olave in fantasy. I like to talk about my fantasy teams a little bit, so don't mind me. But Olave nearly screwed me last week. The man came back and did worse this week. I can't blame him, though. But you went from like 3 points last week to negative points this week. That is like are you kidding me, Olave? But no, it's unfortunate he got injured. Hopefully he gets well soon. But for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield continues to deal. Rashad White missed time here. So what happens? Their 2 backup running backs, Sean Tucker, who they drafted last year, and Bucky Irving, who they drafted this year, show up and show out. They go for 297 scrimmage yards and 3 touchdowns combined. Great game for them. Chris Godwin still looks elite. One of the best slot wideouts in the league. He goes for 125 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Baker Mayfield throws for 325 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also had 3 picks. One of those definitely weren't his fault. And then you got to look at Spencer Rattler on the other hand. He also threw for 243 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks in his first career start. So, not all these picks are the quarterback's fault. But we had to see what Spencer Rattler does Thursday night against Bo Nix and the Broncos. So 2 rookie quarterbacks facing off. Sean Payton facing his former team. If you guys want to see that video, be sure to like and subscribe. I post that video, and the plan to post that video is on Tuesday. So I've been having some technical difficulties, but I'm going to try to record in advance and just have to record the Monday night game voiceover after that game is played and then start processing overnight. And hopefully I'll be able to get it up within 12 hours after the game. Now, I thought that first half was spectacular. I thought the second half was right, because the Buccaneers took off. I'm giving that still a really good game, though. I thought it was a really good game score. The score isn't as close as it was as you think, right? But the highlights and stuff were all there, and it's a divisional matchup. There's some stuff there. I'm giving it a 77 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game. Our next game is the Cleveland Browns take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, you guys saw my last video. I said the Eagles should smack these boys by 3 touchdowns, or else I'm going to go out here and rant. I am an Eagles fan. We didn't smack them by 3 touchdowns. We beat them by 4 points. But A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, that connection still looks legit. Devontae Smith got open for a quick drag route that he turned into a touchdown. Saquon Barkley got bottled up this game. We'll have to see what happened next game against the Giants. I expect Saquon to have a great game. So you're betting on underdog, prize picks, anything like that. Put everything on Saquon. You heard it here first. Thank me later. Saquon over on touchdowns, Saquon over on yards. He can't have another bad game like this. And we got Dallas Goedert hurt for this game, so he will probably miss next game due to a hamstring injury. We'll have to see. For the Browns, on the other hand, they get this epic block field goal by Myles Garrett that gave them a whole lot of momentum because they went to halftime tied with us, and we dominated that game completely. But Myles Garrett blocks our kick. That's a great play by him, a Defensive Player of the Year candidate doing DPOY type things. He blocks the kick. They scoop and score that for a touchdown. They tied it at halftime. Deshaun Watson, though, does nothing. They end up trading Amari Cooper after this game, who also did nothing. Jerry Jeudy will probably be their number 1 wideout now. Hopefully they get Nick Chubb back. His practice window got open. He should be playing this week. So the expectation is Nick Chubb will be coming back. Jerome Ford might be missing time. They got to get the run game going to maybe get some play action going. I don't know. But Deshaun Watson and the Browns' offense is atrocious here. But that was that game. It was a close game, but it's tough to judge. I don't want to be biased as an Eagle fan. So I'm going to give it a good game rating of 73 out of 100. Let me know what you guys thought of that game in the comment section down below. It was 20-16 as the final score. The Eagles had to go down and get drive that milked the clock and prevent the Browns from scoring, which they did, connected on a deep bomb to A.J. Brown. That was a good game, though, but again, it wasn't very entertaining, wasn't great or anything like that, but I definitely thought it was a good game, one score. Now we're going on to our next game. Two dual threat quarterbacks here. The Washington Commanders take on the Baltimore Ravens. Zay Flowers had 132 yards receiving. Derrick Henry had 132 yards rushing. Lamar threw for 323 yards. It was good to see Mark Andrews also contribute this game. He's been starting off slow, but he has had back-to-back solid weeks. So we have to see, can he get his top 5 tight end status back? He definitely lost that after how he started the season. So on the flip side, we got the Washington Commanders, and this connection between Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin has been one of the best ones to see develop, because Terry McLaurin gets 2 touchdowns here this game. Jaden Daniels still looks really solid. He goes for over 200 yards passing. Doesn't do that much on the running. So shout out to the Ravens for making sure he's bottled up. That's a great game plan. And you would think the Ravens should have a great recipe for that, since they practice against Lamar so much. You would think the defense coordinator would definitely have the secret ingredients of formula to stop that, right? So they did really well against for containing Jaden Daniels on the rushing department. And the Ravens were up most of this game. Justin Tucker made some really good field goals and stuff like that. Now, I didn't want to say this game was over by any means, because the Ravens have tricked off some leads. They almost lost to the Cowboys, if you remember. They almost got walked down by one of the worst teams in the league. And they actually did get walked down by the Raiders, who are one of the worst teams in the league. So the Commanders were definitely not ever out of this game. And for that reason, I'm giving that a great game score of an 83 out of 100. Brian Robinson didn't play this game. Hopefully he can come back next week. Austin Eckler filled in. He did okay. But let's go ahead and go to our next game, which is the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Denver Broncos. So this game, the Broncos would find themselves down 23-0. But they would come back in the fourth quarter and make it a one-score game, try to get an onside kick and stuff. Couldn't get it. It was 23-16 for the final score. Bo Nix struggled in the first half, first 3 quarters or so. Fourth quarter, Bo Nix was going crazy out there. He turned the sliders all the way up. He threw this absolute dot to Cortland Sutton, which could be a Player of the Year candidate. Cortland Sutton makes this diving one-handed catch, falling out of bounds. They reviewed it and everything to see, like, they had to review for like 5 minutes. They didn't know if this man caught it inbounds or not. This catch was phenomenal by Cortland Sutton. They had their first TD. They ended up getting another one later and stuff. But overall, it was just too little too late. For the Chargers' hand, J.K. Dobbins did really well. He goes for 97 yards rushing. Even Kamani Vidal, their rookie running back who they drafted super late in the draft, he filled in for Gus Edwards as the backup running back. Gus Edwards is out for the season, if I'm not mistaken, or out for a while. I think he's on IR. Kamani Vidal fills in. He catches this great wheel route down the sideline from Justin Herbert. That's pretty much it for this game. I thought this game was above average. I'm giving it a 64 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. This is Justin Fields' last start for the Steelers, for at least now, because they benched him after this game to go to Russell Wilson, so we'll see how that works. But Aiden O'Connell got the start here instead of Gardner Minshew, and Najee Harris had a great highlight. He ran for 106 yards, but he broke away on this one run down the sideline. He dove into the end zone, dove in from like 5 yards away. The man had reached for it on Hall of Fame. Go, gadget arm, stretch it across. I don't like when running backs do that, because I'm like, man, you just don't get it. It's first and goal at the 1 or the 2 yard line. But if you go out there, try that hard, and you lose the ball, and you fumble it, and it goes out the end zone, it's a touchback. The other team gets the ball. Like, hey, it's not that serious. On 4th down, 3rd down, I can kind of understand reaching for it, but it had been first and goal. He got tackled out of bounds there. Justin Fields was also great on the ground. He had 59 rushing yards and 2 rushing TDs. Only 145 yards in the air. Some of that's due to accuracy, or some of that just doing this was a blowout from start to finish. But if he had thrown a better ball to George Pickens, he catches that and runs in for a touchdown down the deep middle. He underthrew Pickens. Pickens had to make a sliding catch and stuff. So a better thrown ball, it's an easy rack catch. Just run after catch, run in, untouched. But no accuracy issues there. We'll have to see if Russ is better than Fields. I'm curious to see if they go for any New Orleans Saints style stuff, where the Saints use Taysom Hill Even though he's a backup quarterback and all that, they still got him on the field. I think Field is dynamic enough to have some plays in there for him. Maybe in the red zone, maybe on some trickery, whatever you want to do. But I think Field should still get like a handful of plays per game because he has such a dynamic and elite skill set where you could use that to your advantage. Now we're going on to. Oh no, let me talk about the Raiders real quick. I don't want to talk about the Raiders. You guys saw I tried to go ahead and skate by the Raiders real quick, but let's go ahead and talk about the Raiders. Might be some Raider fans in here. I feel sorry for you. You got two running backs that can barely average 3 yards per carry. You got a quarterback that's bad enough to get benched by the other quarterback at any point, and then when that other quarterback comes in, he's bad enough to lose his job again to the bench quarterback previously. But you do have Brock Bowers, who's a really talented tight end, already one of the best in the league in his rookie season. He gets 9 catches here, 10 targets, 71 yards. You guys trade away Devontae Adams. He's gone to the Jets to reunite with Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully you guys get Jacoby Myers back this week so you guys can have a decent enough number one wideout. Because I do like Trey Tucker, but I don't think he's a number one wideout perhaps. But Trey Tucker could maybe fill into that number 2 role really well. Who knows? But you guys got a lot you guys got to do in this draft. First, you got to start with quarterbacks, though. So let me know who you guys want in the draft class if you are a Raider fan. Do you want Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, Jalen Milroe, anybody else? Let me know you guys got any quarterbacks in mind. But we're going on to our next game. Oh, my bad. Let me go ahead and rate that game. I thought that game was bad. I'm giving that game a 28 out of 100. Now, we're going on to the game of the year. Oh, my goodness. It is the Detroit Lions taking on the Dallas Cowboys. The Detroit Lions went up in Dallas. By the way, my mom's a Cowboy fan, so y'all might know this. I'm on the game. I'm talking to my boys, got the headset on. And all they hear is screaming in the background. That was in the first quarter. Second quarter, silence. Why? Because them boys got killed. It was radio silent. You ain't hear anything. Somebody called the coroner. It was a beat down from start to finish. You heard screaming in the first quarter, silence the rest of the game. But that's like an understatement on how bad this game was. The Lions were running trick plays on these boys the whole game. I kid you not. They tried to get every offensive lineman a touchdown. They were going through the whole thing. They were bringing it back to last year. Like, oh, y'all said we had a player not lined up and took a touchdown away from us last year and cost us the game. We're going to make sure we get us an old lineman touchdown this week. They tried every trick play in their arsenal. They paid their running back, David Montgomery, and let him get 2 rushing TDs. A lot of dudes might be like, they just want to pay their running back. They did that because they wanted the Cowboys to know this is why you should have paid Derrick Henry or any running back in free agency. They can go get touchdowns for you. They literally paid their running back just to troll Dallas. This is unbelievable. This was a historic beatdown. It was 47-9. This is a scoregami. You don't know what a scoregami is. That means there's never been a score like this in the NFL history. So the normal scores be like 24-20, 24-21, 28-24. Those are like normal scores. No team in history, the NFL's long history, has gotten their ass whooped 47-9. You know how historic that ass whooping got to be. That's one of those ass whoopings you take and you just go on silent. You feel me? Where you got tears running down your face but no sound coming out. You just like the sound that got smacked out of you. The Dallas Cowboys got destroyed this game. There is nothing else I got to say about it except for one thing. Aiden Hutchinson suffers a nasty injury. So he's probably out for the season. I don't know the exact diagnosis yet, but he's probably out for the season. And he was having a Defensive Player of the Year caliber season. So, of course, we wish him a speedy and healthy recovery. But the Cowboys have a bye week next week. The Lions take on the Minnesota Vikings next week in a battle for first place in the NFC North Division, the best division in football right now. I can't wait to see that game. I can't wait to see the Cowboys to go into the bye week and then come back out and play the Niners and get smacked again. But overall, I thought this game was absolutely egregious. But it was very entertaining because, I don't want to call myself a Cowboy hater by me. I do enjoy watching them get beat down. So I'm giving this game a truly awful score, a 13 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game. Our next game is the Atlanta Falcons take on the Carolina Panthers. And in this game, Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier combined for 200 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns rushing TDs. So that was that. Drake London has another solid game here. He goes for a touchdown, 74 receiving yards, 6 catches. Kirk Cousins does well as well. He goes for 225 yards. Easy game here by the Falcons. They won 38-20. The Panthers didn't get blown out necessarily. They were close for like the first 2.5, 3 quarters. But fourth quarter, the Falcons were able to pull away and win this game pretty decisively. Andy Dalton threw 2 picks, and they both got been pick sixes. One, it got deflected at the line of scrimmage by Matthew Judon. It goes sky high in the air. And I believe Troy Anderson picked it off, but somebody picked it off and ran it in for a touchdown. And then at the end of the game, the players were just hyping up, the commentator just hyping up Andy Dalton. I forgot what they even said, but it was hilarious. He's like, Andy Dalton's a veteran quarterback. He can da-da-da-da-da, and Bryce Young can learn from him. And then by that time, Andy Dalton throws a pick six. But actually, it wasn't a pick six because the Atlanta Falcon defender caught it in stride, but he went down at the one so they could just take knees. I believe that is Kenny Phillips. So that was how that game pretty much concluded. And the Panthers are okay. They got Xavier Legette. He scores a touchdown this game. So that's a promising young player. They got Jonathan Mingo, who's okay, filling in for Adam Thielen and stuff. The Panthers are okay-ish. Ideally, they get Bryce Young back in there, and Bryce Young shows some promise. So that's what they're really hoping for right now. They're probably going to be another bottom 5 team, get another early pick. But they want to see what that pick should be. Should they be looking to somebody like Travis Hunter, a dynamic player like that, or should they be looking at a quarterback perhaps to replace Bryce Young? I think that's mainly what you got to concern yourself about. If you're a Carolina Panther fan or management, anything like that, you will have to make that switch back to Bryce Young to see if he learned anything throughout this season. But I thought this game was slightly below average. I'm going to give it a 47 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game, and that is the Sunday night game, the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the New York Giants. And I expected the running backs to do a little bit better here. The leading rusher for both teams were the quarterbacks. Daniel Jones had 56 rushing yards. He led the way for the game. Joe Burrow had 55 rushing yards, so he is 1 yard behind Daniel Jones. But Joe Burrow had that long TD, I believe, a 47-yarder on 3rd and 19, where the Giants go cover one. So everybody's manned up on the left side of the field and stuff. And Joe Burrow breaks free to the right side. And it's crazy. You look at the play. The free safety was actually looking at Joe Burrow as he was about to go past the line of scrimmage. But for some reason, he peeled off to the left where all the other wideouts were. Which, I mean, is okay. But it looked like Joe Burrow was about to start running. And he just stayed back and went to the left side of the field as well instead of keeping his eyes on Burrow. So Burrow was able to scamper in for 47 yards. Longest TD run of his career, I'm pretty sure, at any phase. Like, that's crazy. You might not even got that back in middle school or something. So Joe Burrow got loose for that. Chase Brown got the game-winning TD. They won this game 17-7. There is no Malik Neighbors, so the Giants' offense is kind of stagnant. Also, no Devin Singletary. I expected Tyrone Tracy to have a better game. But Chase Brown gets this long TD run. I expect Chase Brown to fill in more and get a larger role now that Zach Moss fumbled this game. And Zach Moss has been losing a little bit of snaps on a per-game basis to Chase Brown. Now Chase Brown might be the starting running back for the foreseeable future. We'll have to see exactly. But the Bengals won this game. Not a very entertaining primetime game, I'm not going to lie to you. I thought it was below average. It wasn't a blowout or anything, but I'm going to give it a slightly below average grade of 48 out of 100. Now we're going on to our next game, which was the Monday night game, the final game, the game of the week. The divisional matchup of the Buffalo Bills take on the New York Jets. This is the first game after the Jets have fired their head coach, Robert Saleh. I was not expecting that firing. Now the Jets have traded after this game for Davante Adams, and I believe the Jets have a bye week. So we'll have to see what that acquisition does, because I can't wait to see Rodgers and Adams reunite, because he still got Lazard there, who was great this game. Caught a Hail Mary pass. Aaron Rodgers connects with Alan Lazard for a Hail Mary. It doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers in the Green Bay green, in the New York Jets green, you give that man a Hail Mary range, there is a chance. He still got it. And then Garrett Wilson, that Aaron Rodgers connection, has been looking really good the past couple weeks. I'm curious to see how it develops more with Davante Adams on the other side. And I think this makes their offense even more dynamic. Now I think you got 3 wide receivers that Aaron Rodgers trusts fully. Adams, Wilson, Lazard. You got Brees Hall and Braylon Allen in the backfield. The O line is okayish. The defense is still solid. Let's see what this team can do now. Um, but I think the turning point of this game was Brees Hall broke this long run on a toss to the left, and Taylor Rapp gets the tackle here. And he had one man to beat, but Brees Hall couldn't beat him. So he makes a miss and scores a TD. That's huge. They get tackled at the 5 yard, inside the 5, and they're not able to punch it in, so they got to settle for 3. So instead of the Jets taking the lead, they end up tying the game. And then the Jets will also get into the field goal range later, miss some field goals and stuff. And same with the Bills. I guess it's super windy out there, or both kickers are just trash. I don't know. I'm going to go with the windy conditions, though, because the Jets had a chance to get into field goal range later on in the game after the Bills didn't make a field goal to regain their lead by 3. And Mike Will just slips. So maybe it's a bad field condition. I don't know what's going on. But Mike Will slips. I hope it wasn't a serious injury. He laid on the ground for a long time after. But that allowed Taylor Rapp to go get the game-sealing interception. And that's how the Bills won. I thought this was an amazing game. I'll give it a 94 out of 100. But let me go ahead and talk about the Bills real quick as this video is about to conclude. The Bills also make an addition. They get Amari Cooper. So I can't wait to see these teams face each other later on in the year. And now they have developed chemistry with both their new wide receiver pickups. Amari Cooper for the Bills, Adams for the Jets, and though Adams and Rodgers still already have that chemistry, you would think. But I can't wait for that dynamic show. I can't wait to see the rematch. The Bills, without James Cook, Ray Davis shows up, shows out. Even catches a deep bomb on like a scramble drill. Josh Allen finds him for a 40-yard play. He does really well on the ground, gets a rushing TD, goes over 150 scrimmage yards, nearly has 100 rushing yards. So Ray Davis was solid filling in for James Cook. I wish that kid very well. Nothing but the best. He has a great story, by the way. You guys don't know about Ray Davis' story. Be sure to look that up. But this game, I'm giving a 94 out of 100. I thought it was amazing. Could have been spectacular if it got a little bit better plays and more drama late. I hate seeing missed field goals. I just hate seeing bad stuff happening, right? Missed field goals and stuff, but at the end of the day, we do have a Hail Mary. We got a great dive and toe tap catch by Dawson Knox and Garrett Wilson. We got divisional rivals, must-win games for both these teams that found themselves on losing streaks. So, can't wait to see what the future have. If this game was amazing, the next game could be even better. But as always, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe. Our next video will be NFL Week 7. That will be coming out Tuesday. So if you like this video, you'll probably like the next one as well. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.